Welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. Take two. It's okay. There's just so much I want to talk about tonight that I got jabbering about this and then got jabbering about that, and the two aren't connected. But first of all, I hope everybody's staying warm and cozy. I know it's cold and blustery down here in southern Ontario, and the north is getting nailed too. So, wherever you are in the world, since I have some British friends here listening, please stay warm, stay cozy. If you're in the Brit, if you're in England, I hope if you are one of my senior citizen friends that you are that gonna get your credit and you'll be able to keep the heat on. All right. If you're out in Florida, welcome to snow, guys. As one meme went, Canada, you left your front door open because all the cold air came from Canada down there, which I thought was cute. So today's chit chat is we've had 2 days of Donald Trump. And while he was on the election pass and hunt and things like that, he said he quote said he was just joking that he would be dictator for one day, and we all went, yeah. Anybody who knows him says he's going to be more aggressive this time than he was last time. So it's sort of listening to people on the inside who've worked with him and go, yeah, when he says it's purple, it's going to be purple kind of mentality. So I have been watching and seeing what's going on, or just sort of the vibes that I'm getting. And I'm always, if I hear something, I want to go find two sources, if not three. I'm not going to count it per se. I'm not going to say if I read it once, therefore. I may say, oh, I read today and say it, but when it comes to this kind of stuff. So one of the things he's done is he has said all federal public servants have to be back in the office, no more remote working. And that the management is to make sure that they are doing their work. Well, that's micromanaging. And that really feels like overstretching the boundaries. If the job is getting done, the job is getting done. But he is, as of instantaneously, they are to be back. Well, anybody who's got kids, who's been working remotely, you just threw a wrench into the works because now I got to find a daycare and I have to find babysitters and care before and after. So that's one. And this is one of those times, well, I will give Polyev a up on check mark because somebody asked him about Trump's comment and I listened to him. So I've physically heard Polyev say it, that he said, I don't care if they do it, if they're in the office, as long as the job is getting done. If they can make sure they're getting the job done and they're working remotely and it's works for their household and makes their life easier, then yeah, what's the problem? I don't have a problem with that. Then his next breath was, we need to fire a lot of our public servants because it's costing us a lot of money. All right, okay, you got a thumbs up on the first comment, buddy. You blew it on the second comment. And there's a reason I'm going to say that, because some people say, yes, we spend a lot of money on federal employees. But years ago, and not that long ago, Justin Trudeau was prime minister by that time. It was discovered that I had been overpaid for what we used to call mother's allowance, and I had to pay it back for my last child. And I was like, excuse me, why? And it turns out because my ex rents a room for me, as far as CRA is concerned, we're husband and wife. We're mom and dad, might be a better way of putting it. And he doesn't live at a different address, so I had to pay it back. And I went, well, why have I not been informed about that? Because my kid's now 26. So it was 6 or 7 years ago. She said, well, you can thank Harper for that because he decided there was too many people working in the CRA offices. She said, I'm sitting in a room that should house 150 tables with people attached to phones chasing income tax that hasn't been paid, or following up on income tax that has been paid, or dotting their I's and crossing their T's and making sure everybody's thing has been done. She said, maybe a tenth of these tables are being used right now because he did a cutback on the CRA and had them all laid off. I said, can I at least get a form that says this is what I owe so I can track as I pay it off? Because I don't mind paying my taxes. It keeps the country running. And she said, well, I can send you this one, but you won't get any follow-ups. And I went, what? I said, can I go online? She says, no, because there's nobody here to set up the website. She said, we're understaffed, massively. And that's because of Stephen Harper. He kind of was like, great. Now, I have now paid that off. That's fine. That bill's gone. But it was like, this is what Polyev is hitting for. But back down to Donald Trump. So he sent everybody back to the office. He's also told them, for several departments, to lay everybody in their department off with full pay, and they have a month to figure out how to legally fire them. Okay. So you're going to walk in and you're going to put a whole pile of tariffs on people, which is going to cost the American consumer money massively. And then you're going to fire a whole bunch of them so they don't have an income at all. And if they're fired, now I can't speak for the United States, but in Canada, if you're fired, you can't apply for UI. You can only apply for UI if you get laid off. So I got UI when I was laid off from my last school because they just didn't renew my contract, so I had no job. I hadn't quit. I hadn't been fired. I'd been laid off. They didn't. Okay? So my daughter got laid off from her job. So she got UI for a while. So if the US is anything like Canada, all those people that are getting fired will not be able to get UI. The mass deportation is already started. He sent a whole bunch of the armed forces down to the southern border. He's already told the oil drills to keep pumping, to pump as much oil as you can. He has told all their federal buildings, blackout, they are not allowed to talk to anybody. That honestly sounds like somebody who's a history buff. That's what countries did when they're going to war, because they don't want anybody to know. Now, some of that, yes, I get. Like, we don't want Russia to know where our Navy and our military, our Army is based in the far north. That's national security. But when he's telling the CDC and those kind of organizations that they are not allowed to talk to anybody or put anything out, you're going, what's the big secret? Why are you hiding? Right? I get the Pentagon, I really do, same as I get any of our military, our D&D, to not open their mouths. They're the military. They're protecting our sovereignty. What else has he done in the last... Oh, pull out of the World Health Organization. Well, we pay too much. Well, I'm not really sure how the World Health Organization works in who pays what. But one of his complaints was they didn't do enough to protect Americans during COVID. I said it before. I'll say it again. That's not the job of the World Health Organization. They step in for areas that can't take care of themselves. He wants out of NATO. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. He said, well, we pay too much into it. Now, I will give him, there are countries, including Canada, who doesn't pay their 2%, which is what NATO agreed on. Every country pays to a minimum of 2% of their gross domestic product value into their military. Okay, so I can see his and NATO's complaint about Canada not paying enough. But I have discovered that when we keep our records and we say this is how much we're spending on military, we're only counting the active Navy, the active Air Force, the active Army. We're not counting our veteran stuff, where other countries are actually counting that. So the U.S. counts anything that has to do with the military. So their veterans organizations, the keeping of their cemeteries, things like that. Where in Canada, we don't count that. And there was a military, one of my Facebook guys, Armed Forces guys, was saying, if we included those things in our total amount that we paid towards the military, we'd be well over the 2%. But because we don't count those things, it looks like we're spending less. And yet, federal governments have in the last 10 years kept upping it. And right now there's a big push for recruitment into the military to the point that some of the medical things have been changed. Like before, if you had an allergy, you couldn't go in. Now it's evaluated and what's the results of the allergy. So if you're allergic to if you have hay fever, maybe once upon a time that was a big deal. Now it's not as big a deal. One of the times I tried to get in, they said, "Oh, you're hypothyroid. I'm sorry, you can't." And the base doctor went, "Excuse me, three misses. Like, she's got a condition. Does she have meds? Is it going to affect her if the meds doesn't have her meds?" Well, no, it's not. I just get a little lethargic. It's not like being diabetic. Okay, so our recruitment process has slimmed a bit and made it easier. So we're doing our bit. So having said that, we can assume with all the things he's already doing in the first 2 days, literally, is that he will 99% chance come through with the tariffs. And we have lots of our premiers are coming up with ideas on how to kick back. And Kretchen even came out and said, we need to do this hard. Like, get a backbone and stand up to them and say, this isn't happening. And throw everything we've got at it. And there is a whole big list. I haven't been able to get my hands on the list. But I love Doug Ford's. Says he throws tariffs on us. Okay. As the Premier of Ontario, and therefore have the say with the LCBO, we'll just return all the liquor and wine that's American, and we'll send it back to the States. And we won't sell it in the LCBO or any of our convenience stores. I went, I can handle that. And when the app talked to, it was CTV, and they were talking to the wineries in the Niagara area, they went, we're fine by that. That works. Not a problem. Bring in things from South Africa. More wines and liquors from South Africa, from England, from Ireland. Bring in some good Guinness, right? Or good old Glenfiddich, which is sitting right there. My favorite whiskey. Okay? Bring in more international and just not sell American. And if we want to push our wines and liquors, just using this as an example, get rid of the tariffs we have between the flipping provinces. I'd forgotten about that. But this is ridiculous. One country, let me buy wines from the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia at the same rate I'm paying for wines out of Ontario or South Africa or France. Like, why am I having to have a tariff on something that's coming from British Columbia? Or Screech from Newfoundland. Like, really, people. So, reading Meanwhile in Canada, it's a Facebook site. Just go on Facebook and you'll find it. And this is a guy's hobby. He's got a full-time job, but he really is a very, very proud Canadian. One of the suggestions he came up with, everybody's going, yes, yes, he said, common sense, let's support the Canadian industries. So I've always screamed that anyways, because A, economically, you're supporting your neighbor, but B, environmentally, instead of having it shipped from China or down in the U.S., someplace up here, environmentally, it doesn't have to travel as far, so it's better for the environment, which is why I use True Earth versus other ones that are, just as good, but they're coming from China, so there's this big flight thing that we have to worry about, okay? And he said, support them. So my first one is Shell Canada, all right? Why? Because it's Shell Canada, and it's not just Shell Canada in name. I've checked it out. Its parent company one of them is in England, in Birmingham to be exact, and the other one is, I'm not even going to attempt, it's in the Netherlands. I won't attempt to say the city. But its parent company is not in the U.S. Okay, so that's one right there. Don't shop Walmart. Yes, it says Walmart Canada. I know that. I don't like Walmart. I've got friends who've worked for Walmart and they were treated like crap just over here in the next community. So it's one of the reasons. And there's several other things. I have a problem with Walmart. But Walmart Canada is not a Canadian company. It's a subsidiary of Walmart USA. So don't shop Walmart. Support your other locals. Um, find out if you're into, and you live in the GTA area, because he's no farther than that. But if you're into D&D and comics, Conspiracy Comics, it's a local guy. My kid works for him. And he started it out as upscaled comic book store. But it's just expanded. It's got D&D. It's got all those kind of games that I quietly can go, if you say so, that's fine. I wish he'd get an online store too. That would really push his business. But do things like that. Sobeys, but now all our grocery stores are Canadian just because that's the setup with um, grocers. But I push Sobeys because they have the 3 levels. They have IGA, which is the middle one. They've got FreshCo, then they got IGA, and they've got Sobeys. All right? They started out east. They're definitely a Canadian company. No ifs, ands, and buts. Longo's if you're in the GTA area. It's local and it's... But support those guys instead of anybody in the States. The next one, Amazon. Please don't support that idiot. They have, a year and a half ago, he opened up a whole bunch of warehouses in Quebec because he wants to expand. And one of those warehouses unionized. And now he's closing them all down. And he will tell you, the official response from Amazon is they're closing it down to streamline their operation and to save money in these economic hard times. And that they will outsource all the deliveries to the small guys. It's convenient that they did that right after the workers got unionized. Isn't it just convenient? Walmart did the same damn thing. In here in Canada, had a Walmart. The Walmart employees unionized, and it was coming effect as of midnight. And at 11:30, one of the big honchos, Walmart, walked up and put a letter on the front door saying this store is now permanently closed. Half an hour before the union would have come due. Guess why I don't like Walmart? Don't have to have a union. That's not a necessity. But treat your flipping workers like what they are, which is gold to you. Because if you treat them with care, guess what? They'll stay loyal and they'll work hard for you. So, the big one I'm pushing, my first one, Canadian business for you to support is Shell Canada. If you go to your Shell, lots of them will are supported and will take your CAA card, Canadian Automotive Association, and you can get 3 cents off per liter. So that's going to save you 3 cents. Plus, if you do air miles, it'll take air miles too. So my Shell, I use my Shell because it's right on the road. So it's convenient. But I get 3 cents off and I get my air miles. That's fine. Need milk, I can go in and get my milk. So there you go. That's what my message is tonight. And that's what my message is going to be perpetually. There's a push. People are going, you want a vacation? Guess what? There's a ton of places in Canada to go see. And I'm going to say that too. Go check out your village. Go check out your city. Go check out your province. Go check out your territory. There's lots of places out there. So there we go. Trump is showing he's really going to do what he said he's going to do. And we need to stand up and support Canada. Take care, guys. See you next time.